Do you really believe you're in control of your choices? We all like to think so. The idea that we are the masters of our own destiny, making decisions with complete freedom, is a comforting one. But what if I told you that most of your decisions aren't really yours at all? What if your choices are being dictated by hidden forces you're not even aware of? Stick with me, because we're about to pull back the curtain on the psychology of control, and what you discover might just change how you see everything. Let's start with a big one, the ego. Your ego is that part of you that constructs your identity. It's the story you tell yourself about who you are. This story needs constant validation. It thrives on being right, on looking good, and on being better than others. Think about the last time you argued a point you knew, deep down, you were wrong about. Why did you do it? Because your ego couldn't handle the defeat. It filters reality to protect your self-image, often leading you to make choices that aren't based on logic or what's best for you, but on what preserves your sense of self. When ego is in the driver's seat, rational judgment takes a backseat. Now, let's talk about fear. Fear is arguably the most powerful decision-making engine we have. It's a primal instinct designed to keep us safe, but in the modern world, it often runs wild. Fear doesn't just show up when you're facing a real threat. It shows up as the fear of missing out, the fear of judgment, the fear of failure, or the fear of being alone. This fear can make you compliant. It makes you say yes when you want to say no, just to avoid conflict. It makes you stick to the familiar, even if it's making you miserable, because the unknown is terrifying. Your avoidance of discomfort and your submission to things you do and agree with are often just fear in disguise, quietly steering your life's path. And it's not just our internal world pulling the strings. We are social creatures, deeply influenced by the groups we belong to. This is social conditioning. From a young age, we are taught to obey authority, parents, teachers, bosses. We learn the unwritten rules of our society and our social circles. This often leads to a phenomenon called groupthink, where the desire for harmony or conformity in a group results in an irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcome. You might agree with a decision in a meeting that you privately think is a terrible idea, simply because everyone else is on board. The pressure to belong is so immense that it can literally overwrite your own judgment. We are programmed to follow the herd, often without even questioning where the herd is going. This brings us to manipulation. The most effective manipulation is the kind you don't even notice. It happens through subtle techniques that bypass your critical thinking. One of the most common is framing. The way a question or a choice is presented can drastically change your response. Would you rather buy ground beef that is 75% lean or 25% fat? It's the same product, but one frame sounds much healthier. Language itself is a powerful tool. Words are loaded with emotional triggers. Marketers, politicians, and even people in our daily lives use specific language to evoke feelings of fear, hope, or desire, nudging you toward their preferred outcome. You think you're making a logical choice, but you're actually reacting to an emotional prompt that was intentionally planted. Now, let's talk about power. In any interaction, there's a power dynamic at play. Someone usually has more influence, more authority, or more control. This could be a boss, a charismatic leader, or even a dominant personality in a friend group. What's fascinating and a little disturbing is how power often attracts silence. People are less likely to challenge or question those in power, partly out of fear, and partly out of a conditioned respect for authority. This silence creates an echo chamber where the powerful person's ideas go unchecked, and everyone else's choices are effectively made for them. The question you should always be asking is, who benefits from my decision? Following the power often reveals the answer. But perhaps the most insidious controller of all is ourselves. We are masters of self-deception. When we make a poor choice, our minds have an incredible ability to rationalize it. We create elaborate stories to justify our actions, not to convince others, but to convince ourselves. We do this to avoid the psychological discomfort of cognitive dissonance, the stress of holding two conflicting beliefs. If you believe you're a smart person but you just made a foolish financial decision, your brain will work overtime to reframe that decision as a learning experience or bad luck rather than admitting a mistake. This self-deception keeps you comfortable, but it also keeps you trapped in a cycle of repeating the same errors, all while believing you're in control. Why do we fall for all this? A big reason is our addiction to certainty. The human brain hates ambiguity. It craves clear, simple answers. Uncertainty feels dangerous. This is why conspiracy theories are so appealing. They offer a simple, certain explanation for complex, chaotic events. It's also why we'd rather cling to a comfortable facade than face an uncomfortable truth. The false certainty of being right or safe feels better than the anxiety of not knowing. We are so desperate to resolve uncertainty that we will accept a story, any story, that gives us a sense of order, even if that story is a complete fabrication that leads us to make poor choices. So, how do you break free from these invisible strings? The first step is awareness. You have to switch from running on instinct to operating with consciousness. It's the difference between reacting and responding. Instinct is your automatic, pre-programmed reaction. Awareness is taking that tiny pause before you act, a moment to observe your own internal state. To ask, why do I feel compelled to do this? Is this fear talking? Is it my ego? Am I just trying to fit in? This consciousness has a cost. It's easier to live on autopilot. It takes energy and courage to question your own motives and the world around you. But it's the only path to real autonomy. This leads us to the ultimate goal, psychological freedom. This isn't about controlling the world around you. It's about not letting the world control you. It's the practice of detachment, not in a cold, uncaring way, but in a way that allows you to observe your thoughts and emotions without being a slave to them. You see the anger rise, but you don't have to act on it. You feel the fear, but you don't have to obey it. You notice the pull of the group, but you can choose to stand apart. It's about becoming the observer of your own mind, rather than being lost in the storm of its reactions. This is a practice, not a perfect state. It's a moment-to-moment choice to see things as they are. And that's the final thought I want to leave you with. All of these forces, ego, fear, social pressure, manipulation, they operate in the dark. They rely on your unawareness. But once you begin to see them, once you recognize the patterns in yourself and in the world around you, you can't unsee them. It's like learning a secret code. Suddenly, you start to see it everywhere. It doesn't mean you'll be perfect. It doesn't mean you'll never be manipulated again. But it does mean you now have a choice. And in that choice, that small space between stimulus and response, lies your true freedom. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. If this resonated with you, give this video a like and subscribe for more content that challenges the way you think. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments below. See you next time.